Pray for your wisdom, for strength, for courage to do what is right and good for all citizens. May we put the interest of others above our own. May we act with love for the common good. May we be good neighbors, recognizing your image in every person here. We thank you again for this council, our mayor, our city staff, our first responders, our hospital staff, and all those who work to make this place we call home such a wonderful city. In the name of Jesus, whose perfect love sets us free from all fears. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, Your Honor, before I call the roll, I would like to announce that Councilmember Lastra is unable to attend this evening's meeting, and I will mark her excused. Mayor Gunter?
Here.
Council members Donnell? Here. Kaduke?
Here.
Kilrain?
Here.
Lehman? Here. Long?
Here.
Steinke?
Here.
7 present, 1 excused.
Thank you. And Councilmember Nelson asked me to put on the record the reason she's not here tonight is because of a family emergency. We'll move on to item 5 is changes to the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda, or I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as presented?
Motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
Any council discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Lehman? Aye. Long?
Aye.
Steinke?
Aye.
Donnell? Aye. Gunter?
Aye.
Kaduke?
Aye.
Kilrain?
Aye.
7 ayes, motion carried.
Okay, item 7 is approval of the minutes. Do we have a motion regarding the mentioned minutes from the special meeting of September 25th, 2025 at 3 p.m.?
Motion to approve as presented.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Do we have a motion regarding the minutes of the special meeting of September 25th, 25 at 5:05 p.m.?
Motion to approve as presented.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Do we have a motion regarding the minutes of the special meeting of October 8th, 2025?
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Do we have a motion regarding the minutes from the regular meeting of October 8th, 2025?
Motion to approve as presented.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We move on to item 8 is business. 8A is the consent agenda. I will now open the consent agenda for any council to pull any items. Mr. City Manager, I see your light on.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to pull item 6, Resolution 299-25, and Resolution 10, item number 10, Resolution 308-25 for discussion.
Okay. Any other items the council wants to pull? If not, I'll entertain a motion for the other 8 remaining items on the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any council discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Lehman? Long? Steinke?
Aye.
Donnell? Gunter?
Aye.
Kaduke?
Aye.
Kilrain?
Aye.
7 ayes, motion carried.
Okay, we'll move on to Resolution 299-25 under the consent agenda. Mr. City Manager pulled that item, so I'll turn the floor over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. This item is our annual procurement resolution wherein we request approval to execute the appropriations that were budgeted in the fiscal year 26 budget. This method of doing this allows my staff to execute all the purchases for capital equipment, IT, vehicles, and capital improvements in the most efficient manner possible. In the past, I'm going to go back maybe 2 decades ago, we would basically look at each individual purchase through procurement one at a time, and whoever the first department up, who was the first one in, lucky enough to get their request in October, as long as that purchase was under 100,000, they would be able to execute that purchase. If there was a second purchase from another department, and if the sum total of that did not exceed 100,000, that department would be able to execute their purchase. And then we got to a point eventually where somebody was requesting an asset from the same vendor that would be over 100,000, and then that department had a delay in procuring their asset because it had to then become an agenda item on the consent, and that adds 4 to 6 weeks to the process. And then at that time, there were always questions about, well, how did we get to 100,000 when we didn't even approve the previous two? And so then we would explain, well, the way the procurement code is written, that's why. And so as a management best practice and with the concurrence of City Council, what we do now is we look at all of those purchases and basically give the fleet manager and our procurement manager the ability to bundle all of the appropriations that were put in the budget, so that if we need to acquire, let's say, 6 trucks and 5 vehicles, they can execute them in a much larger purchase all at once, getting best value and utilize larger state contracts that deliver cheaper goods and services. In addition to that, it speeds up the procurement process because procurement and fleet were able to centralize that versus each department having to go out and prepare their own documents for those. And as a result of that, we then have less downtime in our fleet, less downtime with our equipment, such as air conditioners, roofs, anything that needs to be replaced. I just wanted to bring you some of this back up. There was a change in council. Some of you may not be aware of how and when we implemented this best practice, what it means for the organization, how it enables us to be quicker, faster, and more efficient in spending down the dollars to make sure we get the best value for those dollars that are appropriated. Thank you.
Councilmember Kilrain.
Yeah, I just want to emphasize that based on that process that you implemented, it is a best practice. And if you look at the typical processes of government, they are slow, they are cumbersome, and as a result of that, they generally cost a lot more. To the extent that this best practice accelerates and reduces cost and allows us to reduce some of that stagnation in the process, it's a good management practice, and I'm in full support of this. We've had questions about whether or not it's in compliance with budget regulations. It's in complete compliance with statute, and it's a good methodology, so I will support it. Thank you.
Yeah, and then one thing I wanted to mention, or maybe even reiterate if the city manager did mention it, I think it's important to note that the $42,717,877, that was actually in our FY26 budget. So this isn't something that's over and above our budget. This was actually put in our FY26 budget. Basically, what we are doing is memorializing those purchases that was already outlined in our FY26 budget. I see no other lights on, so I'll entertain a motion for Resolution 299-25.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any other council discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Lehman. Aye. Long.
Aye.
Steinke.
Aye.
Donnell. Gunter.
Aye.
Kaduk.
Aye.
Kilrain.
Aye.
7 ayes, motion carried.
Okay, we'll move on to Resolution 308-25. Mr. City Manager, you pulled this item as well, so I'll give you the floor.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Probably about a half an hour, 45 minutes ago, I had a discussion with members of the CCCIA Executive Director and Board. There is some concern with the last item on this resolution, which approves a 15% private provider discount. I need some time to work through those numbers with them, so I would be recommending and asking that you approve this without that that provision. So repealing the 25% discount, establishing the floodplain permit, but excluding the 15% private provider discount. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's also important to mention as well and I'm sure my colleagues up here on the dais know there was a lot of dialogue the last few days going back and forth because of a lot of questions that I was asking. And I think it's important to mention as well publicly. One of the reasons I was here back in 2020 when we implemented this reduction, the reason that the reduction was implemented is because there is a statute that states that we are not allowed to have in reserves in the building fund in excess of what 1 year's budget averaged out over a 4-year period of time. And if you look back historically, there were a few years that we were not in compliance. So as a result of that, the previous city manager did two things. Implemented or recommended for this reduction. And also we had set aside $10 million out of the building fund for a future capital improvement to relocate our building department. At that time, it was expressed that it could be a new facility, a new structure, and that's why we set the $10 million aside. Looking back, and also statutorily, we had to invest that $10 million within a 4-year period of time. This past September, staff added, I believe, $8.2 million of that 10 because some of that money was expended. They actually added the $8.2 million back into the building fund. So a lot of the questions that I had this week is, number one, I wanted to see where we fell within our statutory requirements before we had this discussion today, because that information wasn't in our backup material. And I can thank staff. I had several questions. They provided the documentation that was necessary to show that presently the building fund expense averaged out over the last 4 years is $15,284 and $207. And right now we have a balance in the building fund of $11,252,500. So we are at this time in compliance with the statutory requirements that we have less than what our average operating expenses over the last 4 years. So I thought that was important for me to be able to support the 25, to repeal the 25% discount, knowing that's why we put it in place. And staff has provided that information showing that we are in compliance. Additionally, even though we're not any longer going to be building a new facility, as we all know, the city had purchased a building on Santa Barbara Boulevard that here in the near future we'll be moving our building department over to that facility so they have more room. We know that we are going to bear some expense there with remodeling that particular building once we take possession of it. And, you know, it could be a $2 or $3 million endeavor to do the modifications or whatever it may be, but we know it's far less than building a new structure. Additionally, if you look at what we paid for that building per square foot, we couldn't build that building for what we purchased it at. So I think it's a win-win for everybody. So I thought it was important to bring that up today. I'm glad to see that we're going to have some further discussion on the discount for the private providers. I learned some additional information today right before the meeting. So I think it's good that we're going to have a little additional discussion on that and hopefully come up with a plan moving forward on that aspect. So with that being said, since we're in compliance, I know that the city manager and myself included have spoken to the industry. They're okay with the going back to the 2009 rates, because that's what we're basically doing. If we repeal that 25%, we're actually going back to the 2009 building permit fee rates. So with that being said, removing the discount for the private providers for now, I'll be supporting this as well. Councilmember Steinke, I'll go to you and then back to Councilmember Kilrain.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I asked a few questions in regard to this during my meetings with staff this week, and kind of under the auspices of a picture's worth 1,000 words. And I know there's no presentation being given today since it was on consent, but the graph that was provided over the course and time going back to May of 22 to take a look at that, if you will, onslaught of permit activity that caused the overage, if you will, and then the implementation of the discount so that we didn't break statute, has now reversed itself, to the point where those number of applications has reduced, so the revenues coming in aren't enough to match the expense that will be there and to have the reserve that we need. So that picture meant a lot to me. And then it was a concern of mine how we compared to other municipalities around us as far as what they charge for fees and what we charge for fees. And that was supplied as well, so that I've always tried to be data-driven in my decision-making and having all of that data. Thank you, staff, for supplying it so I can better understand first why the discount was put in place when it was and why now is the time to sunset that. And so I'll be in support of it as well.
Thank you, Councilmember Kilrain.
Yeah, just to demonstrate how council works when staff supplies information, we all receive the same information as backup to this. I was educated by it, I learned from it, and I think it's a great part of our process, both what the mayor had requested and what Councilman Stanky had requested, or the basis for which I will be supporting this. I think the data is excellent data, and it certainly merits the removal of that 25% so that we can be at at least a almost recoverable position on the fees and the permit fees. The only hang up on the 15%, I think, was the basis under which that was being brought forward, whether it was just a duplication of what other cities might be doing or whether it's something that might be an appendage from the East Coast process. And I'm glad that we pulled that out at this point in time to further evaluate. So I'll be supporting you with that change, and I would make the motion to approve this resolution with the modification removing the 15%.
Is there a second for that?
Second, and it is resolution 308-25.
Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney.
If I could just clear it up. So it's approving resolution 308-25 with the caveat that any reference within the resolution itself, Exhibit 1 and Exhibit 2, shall remove that 15% reference permit fee discount for property owners who utilize a private provider.
Does the motion maker agree?
Absolutely. That's just like I wanted to say.
Second agrees.
Okay. And just real quickly, no matter if it's this topic or any topic, since Councilmember Kilrain mentioned it, I think what's important to know for the public is we get all the same information, the backup material that the public gets and can view as well. But then if there's an additional information that we request, that we want to see, that's why we get this information at the end of the previous week before the meeting. We have that opportunity. And if I ask for something, or Councilmember Kaduke or whomever it may be, ask for any additional information, not only does that asking council member get it, all the council members get it. So we all see exactly the same information. Doesn't matter if it's this topic or any other topic. I just thought that was important to mention as well. No other lights on. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Madam City Clerk, could you call the roll, please?
Lehman? Aye. Long?
Aye.
Steinke?
Aye.
Donnell? Aye. Gunter?
Aye.
Paduk?
Aye.
Kilrain?
Aye.
7 ayes, motion carried.
Okay, we'll move on to item 8C is unfinished business. C1 is follow-up items for council. There's none listed. Item 2 is follow-up items for city management. There's none listed. So we'll move on to item 8D, new business. First of which is Resolution 253-25. And I will turn it over to the city manager to start with.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. This item is going to be presented by our Economic Development Business Manager, Sharon Woodbury. I also have a member from our emergency management staff available to discuss this, but essentially what we are doing here is partnering with a company who is seeking to build a hotel in our city. And essentially what we are doing is we will be solving a lot of the issues that emergency management has when we need to activate for emergency activation. In my 24 years, in all the years we scramble every time there's hurricane season, trying to enter into agreements with the Army Reserve, Lee County School District, and just about anybody that we can find in order to have a place that is safe and can remain operational for all of our emergency activation staff. And in this regard, we were able to work out an operating agreement with the developer of this hotel so that those staff can stay there during an emergency outside of a special flood hazard area, centrally located very close towards City Hall. And I am grateful that the developer was willing to work for us, and would greatly appreciate approval of this. So that issue is resolved for not only my tenure in this seat, but all future administrations and councils as well. Thank you.
And I'll turn it over to Ms. Woodbury.
Good evening, Mayor. Can you hear me? Yeah. Good evening, Mayor, council members. Sharon Woodbury, Economic Development Manager. I'm here today to give you an overview of the proposed incentive agreement. I'll talk to you a little bit about the project, the background of the company, project details, site characteristics, talk about the economic impact, partnership, what we're proposing as incentives, and then finally our recommendation for approval. So just a little bit about the company. Continental Properties Company, Inc. is a national multifamily retail and hospitality development company founded in 1979. Their experience in hospitality includes a Fairfield Inn located in Cape Coral, as well as a Spring Hill Suites in Tallahassee, Florida. This is a partnership, and it will be managed by Schulte Hospitality Group, which is a professional hotel management firm that manages over 200 hotels under brands that we all know. So just to talk to you a little bit about the details of the project, it's a just over $29 million total investment for this project, 13,500 square feet. It's a 5-story, 112-room hotel. It will include modern amenities for a hotel. We will be having a partnership with Emergency Management and Resilience that the city manager talked about. Ryan Lamb is here to provide a little bit more information and expand on that. And as far as job creation, we're looking at 21 full-time jobs and 2 part-time jobs as a result of the project. Discussing the site characteristics, this is approximately a 2.5-acre privately held site that is under contract right now, located at 1475 Northeast 8th Terrace. It's currently vacant, underutilized, positioned very well among a high-traffic area, in proximity to restaurants, offices, and retail, adding to the value of the hotel and its location. It will incorporate walkability because of that proximity, and the site is not located in a special flood hazard area, which will be beneficial, again, as we talk about the partnership. And here you'll see a map of just some context of where we're talking about as far as the location. This is at the northwest corner of Del Prado and Northeast Pine Island Road, just behind the Commons. And for context, First Watch is there, Love Boat Ice Cream, a couple of other restaurants that are there. And again, feeding into that commercial activity that's happening. Talking about a little bit about the key economic impact highlights. It does increase revenue generated for the tourist development tax. There is job creation. It will offer employment opportunities for both direct and indirect job creation. The economic growth will attract long-term visitors, business travelers, and professionals, supporting economic activity in the area as a result of that. It does support our disaster recovery efforts and address community resilience. And I am going to turn this over to Ryan so he can talk a little bit more about the partnership.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Ryan Lamb, Emergency Management and Resilience Director. So the city lacks large infrastructure that's well protected and fortified in the north part of our city. That's really important when we come to our predominant threat of hurricanes and getting our staff that are required to stay and work during a disaster, getting them in a safe location that's out of the special flood hazard area, out of an area that is surge prone. And so for us, we have about 800 employees that typically we require to work, right? It's part of their stipulations of their employment that they are required to be here. And so this is going to house some of those folks, whether that be code officers, building inspectors, folks that we need to be here and immediately go out afterwards, or police officers and firefighters that if I, for instance, have A and B shift for the fire department on and C shift has to be here the next day, but their house is under evacuation, where do we send them, right? And so we have a number of employees that we would be using for this business purpose. Also, if we have some of our consultants and other recovery folks that come in after the fact, strike teams, mutual aid folks, that would also give them an opportunity in that longer recovery phase as well. So part of this is the city partnering with the hotel to put in a generator. It's going to give us 37 rooms and then also some use of the other common space there that we can get there. We established the rate at the GSA, the Government Services Administration rate, which is, it fluxes with the location, time of year, and over the multi-year contract, we'll have that built into it. With that, we'll keep on going.
Okay, so to continue on, just discussing the economic impact, beyond the job creation directly associated with the hotel, this is impact that circulates dollars throughout the local economy. Here you'll see that we've got a total economic impact from the hotel operations of $6.5 million. That's a total of direct, indirect, and induced output. And then the impact for one-time construction, again, we have impact direct, indirect, and induced, the total value of that being $39.7 million. What we're proposing today is an incentive package that includes a 95% 15-year enhanced property value recapture grant, the value of that being just short of $1.49 million, and that's the total over 15 years. A site improvement grant of $770,000, an impact fee credit of $176,000. The total incentive amount, again, over that 15-year period, totals $2.43 million. That is just over 8% of the total project costs. For the project timeline, following council consideration, the site plan has been submitted and is currently under review and being finalized pending plat approval. The proposed project commencement date is November 2025 and the anticipated completion date, April 2027. In conclusion, we believe that this supports significant economic and emergency management operations, and by providing incentives, our support will help with this project moving forward. The project will be reviewed in the future for possible replication with similar development. And as next steps, we're requesting approval of this resolution.
Mr. City Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to put some closing remarks on this because while this is recommending an incentive to a hotel developer, essentially what we're doing here is we are getting all of the space, all of the operations and upkeep, the amenities, and the secondary power for $2.4 million. If we had to build this space, as an example, the resiliency hub that we got a grant for to build in the North Cape is over $30 million. So while this is presented as an incentive to a private entity, I would just like to highlight what we've done here is first of its kind for this business. We spoke to them, they've never done it, but we were just able to offset over $30 million in expenses in providing this incentive to one hotel and coming up with an agreement that is going to include all of the upkeep and all of the cleaning and maintenance in the times when we don't need it and provide tax benefit to our community as opposed to an asset that would sit there unused during blue skies. Thank you.
Thank you. And before I open the floor, maybe Mr. City Manager, you could explain a little bit how that $1.4 million in that 15-year enhanced property value recapture grant, how that money's, it's not like we're taking $1.4 million out of our budget somewhere and handing that money to them. Could you explain a little bit? I know the last time we had this discussion of another project, there was a little uncertainty of exactly how that program works. So could you maybe explain that just a little bit?
Yeah, so first of all, if the project doesn't get completed or doesn't start, not a dollar leaves, right? So in order to be eligible for this, it needs to be given a certificate of occupancy, certificate of use to be open, and then they have to pay their tax bill, and what we do is we rebate a portion of that tax bill over time. So it's not as if this entire amount is leaving it in one tranche. It will be spread out over a number of years, which is much more manageable for us and at the same time helps the return on equity calculation for the investor. Thank you.
Thank you for clearing that up. Councilmember Kilrain.
Yeah, just picking up on that point, the actual net present value of those dollars on that forward income stream really reduces that 1.4 million in today's dollars. So I mean, it's 1.4 over a long period of time, but those dollars will be reduced because of inflation and growth over those years. So it's less valuable commodity in exchange for that service over those periods, over those years. So it's truly a good investment, and it does the two aspects of both helping us in emergency conditions, and it does it without us having to forego the overhead, as well as the asset improvement and the tax value from it, and along with the employment. So all in full support is, I wish you could find more like this. They're really a great opportunity. So thank you, City Manager, for bringing it forward. Thank you, our Development Manager, for doing the great things you do on it. It was really well done. Thank you.
Councilmember Steinke.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick question. I'm in full support of this, but how did we come up with 37 rooms? Interesting number after the number of people that we had that would be displaced and need to be put up. How did we come up with 37 rooms?
2 floors.
And Mr. Ryan, is 37 rooms enough?
We always need more. Yeah, so those are the rooms that are going to be under generator power. So that was a requirement for that. So that was the 2 floors that are going to be under generator power. We're always, as the Sharon mentioned and the City Manager mentioned, we're going to be looking at trying to replicate this into future possible projects as well, to give us, again, for those times when we need it, to be able to enact those contracts. If we don't need them, we can leave them, but if we do need them, it's always great to be able to pull that tool out of the toolbox.
Got it. So that when they throw the switch on that generator, it's only going to power those 2 floors, and the hotel won't be renting out the rooms above on our generator power.
No, it will not. However, if there is not a need for the generator, then the hotel will have rooms available to the other potential users of that space will have our rooms reserved, but if they don't need the generator power, then they can also share it with their other customers.
Okay, and it's the first 2 floors?
Yes, sir. And that was also part of the requirement you see in the backup documentation. We had them do an energy calculation to prove that the proper size generator was being placed in the hotel.
Great. Win-win. Thank you.
Councilmember Long?
Thank you, Mayor. I guess we'll start there because that was part of one of my questions was I think, what was the figure that you had cited as far as the individuals that we activate in comparison to, I guess, the amount of rooms that were reserved?
We have 800 employees, and this is going to provide for 37 rooms. We can double up and do some other things there.
Okay. And then I guess to go to the generator part, since that was inquired about, is the 350,000, I believe it was the estimate, is that part of the $2 million number that's getting thrown around on slide 12, or is that in addition to?
That is in addition to the number, the 2.1 million, I believe. That's for the incentives only.
Okay, so
Does not include the
We're in
generator.
it for probably 2.5. And then I guess to flesh that out a little bit to Councilmember Steiche's point, if you look at the agreement reads that it's almost open-ended as far as the reimbursable amount. It's the language says, unless I'm mistaken, something to the effect of a generator that could service at a minimum of or at least 37 rooms. Then theoretically, they could increase that to cover the remaining rooms at the expense of our bill that we're reimbursing, because there's no cap on it the way it's written. So that's an issue for me. One other question, I guess, as far as the room, so to speak, what prevents us now from, I guess, blocking out a certain amount of rooms at a local hotel in an emergency activation? Like just going and reserving 37 rooms at the existing Fairfield on Pine Island?
I believe the Fairfield does not have a backup generator, and so
Okay.
you would have no power to the facility.
If it did, that theoretically would be a possibility.
Yes.
The reason I'm getting it, and I'll stop dancing around it here, if the city manager made a statement and he said, well, it looks like it's incentivizing hotels, but it's really not, and then we're parading the emergency services component of it. We're getting 2 rooms out of the deal. We're putting up at least $2.5 million. So I was just curious. I mean, and all we're doing is we're paying for the right to reserve the rooms. We're still paying for the rooms. GSA rate is about $110 a night when I looked it up. So all we're doing is pre-paying an amount in excess of what we realistically would pay if we just went to a local hotel and rented out a block. So, I mean, hell, we could go to that same hotel, tell them we'll buy them a $350,000 generator in exchange for guaranteeing us these rooms, hedge our bets, and then if we need to, then we activate it and we pay $30, $40 more a night. That's where I'm at. If the goal is to incentivize a hotel, let's say that. Certainly the emergency services component I support. But to make it seem like this is a great deal and we're saving $30 million on buying a building, I think the solution I just presented saved us a little bit more. So, just my comment. Thank you.
Councilmember Lehman?
Yeah, just quick question, Mr. City Manager. Obviously, we're not going to need the 37 rooms and the generator year-round. Who covers the cost of the maintenance on the generator, fuel for the generator? Is that the hotel that's going to be responsible for that, or are we going to be responsible for that?
I'll let Chief Lamb answer, but my understanding is it's part of the operation of the hotel.
That is correct. They would be in charge of the maintenance and upkeep of the generator. We've got some provisions in there to make sure that occurs. If there is a activation where we deploy our pieces into it, we would pay for the fuel during our use.
In a time of emergency, it would make sense that we would pay for the fuel that we are using. But,
outside of that, it would be the responsibility of
the
the hotel.
regular, monthly generator checks uses fuel. So then the hotel would be responsible for replenishing.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Steinke?
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted some help from Councilmember Long, because I hadn't seen the ability for them to put whatever size generator they wanted to activate their other 2 floors or whatever. And when I look at Exhibit D, it specifies that it is a 300 kilowatt emergency generator that is the size required for those 37 rooms. Am I missing something that they could put in another, 300,000 watts and put in a 600,000
Yeah, I'm not saying it was
and we'd have to
intentional.
pay for it?
Let me see. I'll find it. I'm not saying it was intentional. I'm just saying it leaves the door open. Certainly, I don't
Yeah, I
think
just
that there
didn't
was
see
any.
the open door.
Yep, I'll find it if you want to move on to the next speaker, and I'll take a look here.
I guess I'll jump in here real quick while he's looking at that. And I appreciate Councilmember Long's remarks. And actually, I didn't think of it that way, so I appreciate you bringing that up. And sitting here looking at the numbers, if you divide and you look, the incentive was about 2.4, you add to 350, it's $2,783,270. Almost $2.8 million is what we are approving. So when you take a look at that and you divide that by 37 rooms, we're paying about $75,223 a night. A room. I mean, one night for the 37 rooms for one time.
$4,070.
Now, we don't know how many times we're going to use it. I just did it, the one number. Now, what I heard here tonight is we need rooms for our employees when we activate during the hurricane. And being a part of the Emergency Operations Center, I can understand that. We have a variety of hotels in our city. Just for argument's sake, if we could partner with a total of 4 hotels in the city and provide a $350,000 generator for 37 rooms at each one, that would be 148 rooms that we could utilize throughout the city. And what's the cost of that? $1.4 million. Now, I think I would want to explore possibly doing that first before I would approve one incentive program and one generator for 2.8 with the understanding, our goal here is mainly we're partnering with them to get at least 37 rooms in case we activate during an emergency. I don't know why we couldn't partner with other hotels, provide that hotel, come up with that agreement with them, and it would be much cheaper. So are we incentivizing the hotel because we want the hotel? Or are we incentivizing the project for the 37 rooms? I think that's the $1 million question, or actually that's the $2.8 million question in the room. So for me, if we're trying to get hotel rooms for emergency activation, I would rather partner with a couple other hotels and see if they would allow us to install the generators, and with the understanding that we could use those rooms. Again, we could get 148 rooms for 1.4 if we use the same methodology of 37 rooms for a generator that costs $350,000. So with that being said, unless I hear something else that changes my mind, and we are incentivizing this project for some other reason other than the 37 rooms during activation, I would like to see us explore other avenues first before we spend the $2.8 million. Councilmember Steinke, and then I'll go to the city manager.
Thank you. Yeah, just a couple things. One, the hotel needs to be in outside of the floodplain.
Flood zone.
And the other hotels that we have, for the most part, are in the floodplain. The other is, I, for one, would like to provide an incentive to bring the hotel rooms here. Sitting on TDC, one of the biggest things that we're trying to do to get the dollars that we contribute to from bed tax, right now, until we get a change in legislation, the only place that's being measured up is in hotel rooms. And right now, we are short in hotel rooms, and we need to do everything we can to encourage these hotels to come our way and provide these rooms for us to take advantage of the amenities, the special events, and everything that we bring to our area. And right now, we are way short of hotel rooms. So forget the emergency management piece of it. I think it's a great incentive package to bring a high quality hotel in the Marriott family to our city. So I think that the emergency management component of it is an added benefit, which makes it a win-win. But if there weren't that emergency management piece of it, I would still be in favor of incentivizing a hotel to come our way. So, I absolutely can appreciate the dollar for dollar evaluation of, well, why don't we just spend 1.5 million and partner up with 4? Trouble is, A, we don't have 4 that would be available outside that floodplain, I don't believe. And B, it doesn't give us any more hotel rooms going after it that way. So I'm still in favor of moving forward the way we are. Thank you.
Thank you. And before I turn it over to City Manager, I guess, in all honesty, one thing I should mention, because I had the City Manager point out exactly what that $1.4 million, how we get that net recapture grant. That's basically their dollars that we're giving back. They're paying property taxes. Now, granted, they're paying them to the city. Once they're paid, then we're giving them back a portion of their own dollars. So we will lose that income. But if you took the 770, the 350, and the 176 with the other components, you're at $1,296,000. So I thought that was fair to mention in the totality of the discussion. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate the discussion. I cannot tell you how many times we've tried to find rooms. So as easy it is for you all to say, well, let's just call a hotel to find someone to stick an employee in, doesn't happen. Every other resident in the state is calling hotels trying to find a place to go. And they don't just say, I'll take a government service rate over free market rate, which, by the way, is higher than their normal. So the availability of rooms when a storm is impending is near zero. It's just the facts. I've been there. We've done it. As Public Works Director, as Assistant City Manager, there's nowhere. We're shoving people in closets. It's just what happens. So the ability to have 37 rooms, 2 floors in a hotel guaranteed in perpetuity for the rest of the city, at this cost, I stand by the analysis. But let's go to some of the other things that were said. There's absolutely no intent for this developer or for the city to allow them to have some runaway train on. It's intended to be a generator to fit 2 rooms. If I could afford to give them an incentive to do the whole hotel, I would do that. But the engineering costs to do that were so great, to run that type of wire and do all the changes to the receptacles and everything else and the switch gear, it wasn't worth it. So we landed on, okay, we'll fall back on 2 rooms or 2 floors. I appreciate the idea, which we already explored. And for those of you in the construction industry, I think you know right away, to buy a generator for $350,000 is not what it's going to cost to put that in place. You have to design and engineer the retrofit. You have to permit it. You have business loss while you're doing construction. You have to change distribution and service lines. There is no way a $350,000 generator in a retrofit building is going to cost $350,000. Not possible. So I appreciate that analysis. It's just not fair. It's not even apples to oranges. So, and then lastly, Councilmember Stanky took the last part. The hotels we have, with the exception of the Fairfield, wouldn't even qualify because they're in a special fund. We cannot put our first responders in harm's way. Thank you.
Councilmember Kilrain.
Yeah, the other part I wanted to just mention too is on the TIF portion of this, the 1.4 million, and again, I'm going to bring up the net present value, but if you look at any reasonable discount rate, the actual out-of-pocket dollars for us is minimal. Even though it looks like 1.4 million over that period of time, it's after taxes. And basically, if you brought those numbers forward, you're only probably equivalent of about $700,000. And I did the numbers in my head, but that's probably net present value of what we'll be spending on that over the long term. So that actually reduces our out-of-pocket requirement for this by significant, even on the TIF portion. Forget about the emergency preparedness element to it. So thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Lehman.
Yeah, there's also, Mr. City Manager, there's one other little thing with, in addition to the 37 rooms during an emergency situation, it's got putting a hotel there is in close proximity to Lake Kennedy. With all and you and I had spoken about this when I said, but, why do we need a hotel when, after all, you've got all these Airbnbs? And you brought out an interesting point that, hey, a lot of people are not going to want to rent a whole house for the time that they're there at Lake Kennedy. And I'm just saying that in addition to the use of the 2 floors in an emergency situation, there's also the availability of a hotel, which then keeps people that are going to Lake Kennedy for whatever the reason in Cape Coral, spending their money in Cape Coral.
Yes, that's what.
Additional thought.
That's what Councilmember Steinke was alluding to on TDC. Our biggest complaint when we had the PPA tournament from the thousands of people that came to that tournament was they had to stay outside of the city to see the pro players. And so if you all want to analyze this just for the hotel, I still recommend this. I was pointing out the way it's above and beyond just saying we need more hotels.
Yeah.
What we did here was enter into a partnership to solve an operational issue in perpetuity.
And in addition to that, a generator that is going to handle an entire hotel, not just the 2 floors, $350,000 is not an expensive situation. I personally have an 18 cubic foot and it cost me $25,000 with the tank. You're talking covering a lot more area than a single family home. So I think it's a reasonable situation. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no other lights on,
Mayor?
yes.
Excuse me.
Sure.
The representative of the developer is here, and if he could have an opportunity to speak, he would like to.
Sure.
Good evening. I'm Eric Tome with Continental Properties, Senior Development Director. I want to give a little bit of color on, first of all, as to why 2, and I think City Manager alluded to many of the facts that were out there that made us decide it has to be 2 floors. Remember, this has got a power and elevator. If you have to go to 3rd, 4th, or 5th floor, that elevator power starts to throw your dynamics off with how much of a generator you're going to have. We also have to make sure, the reason why it works too, in a new hotel, instead of looking at existing hotels, because we do own the Fairfield, and we did an analysis based on what we were doing here at the Town Place Suites to see what could we do with that. The problem comes down to a lot of internal gutting that would have to happen. You have to have an electrical room that's big enough. And if you plan for it ahead of time, like we're doing in this new hotel, you can do it. If you don't, like we analyzed our existing hotel, you've got to have a much bigger electrical room. You've got to have separate wiring for that, that generator run both floors. And you've got to also have the room for that generator space in the tank. It's very costly to try and retrofit. It's not just the generator, it's all the internals that has to go with the infrastructure to make that work. So I just want you to consider that. It's not as easy as just putting a generator in, because you've got to rewire everything on those floors. and rip out everything on those floors to make sure that that generator will operate efficiently. The other reason why we went with 2 floors is just from an operational standpoint with our staff. If we have to take a look at, our cleaning services and everything else happening on those 2 floors, we really, it's better for laundry and everything else to just be limited to 2 floors and not go to higher than that. I don't know if there's any other questions I can help answer at this time.
Sure, thank you. Councilmember Long?
Well, that was it. I guess the whole purpose of me bringing up the 2 floors for the generator, is your understanding then that the generator is only going to service those 2 floors
Correct.
and not the remainder of the hotel?
We'd have to have a much bigger generator and much bigger tank.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. How many floors do you have total in that particular?
5.
5 floors?
Yes.
So would it be fair to say, if you took the 350 and you times it by the other, or divide it by the 2 floors and times it by 5, would that be the approximate cost if you wanted to do the whole hotel?
It would be a little bit more than that because now you've got to make sure that you've got a generator that has to go 5 floors up to power that elevator.
Right.
So it becomes, again, it's diminishing returns to try and get a generator big enough to be able to do that. You're talking about a hospital-sized generator,
Okay.
if you can imagine
You'd
that,
have
because
to
that's what
jump
they need to
frame
run those
size.
elevators.
Right. Okay. Councilmember Donnell? Okay, go ahead. If you want to make a motion, go ahead.
Second.
Any other discussions? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Lehman,
Aye.
Long,
No.
Steinke,
Aye.
Donnell. Gunter,
No.
Kaduk,
Aye.
Kilrain.
Aye.
5 ayes, 2 nays, motion carried.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to next item on the agenda is item 9, ordinances and resolutions. Item 9A, public hearing is quasi-judicial hearing, first of which is ordinance 54-25. Madam City Clerk, please read the title.
Ordinance 54-25, an ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of Cape Coral, Florida, that amends the city of Cape Coral, Florida official zoning district map of all property within the limits of the city of Cape Coral by rezoning property described as a parcel of land located in section 17, Township 44 South, Range 24 East, Lee County, Florida, as more particularly described herein, from residential multifamily low to professional zone, property located at 2307 Bellado Parkway, providing for severability and an effective date.
Okay, thank you. Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. In reference to ordinance number 54-25, because this is a quasi-judicial hearing as required pursuant to our code, if there are any ex parte communications, this will be the opportune time for the council members to disclose those.
Thank you. Any ex parte communications anyone needs to divulge?
No.
Okay, seeing none, this is a quasi-judicial hearing. Anyone wishing to speak or provide testimony must be sworn in. Please stand if you're going to testify during ordinance 54-25, and the city clerk will swear you in.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'll turn it over to Mr. Daltrey.
All right. Good afternoon. For the record, Wyatt Daltrey, Planning Team Coordinator of the City's Planning Division. My credentials may be obtained at the City Clerk's office. Before you today is Ordinance 54-25. This is a privately initiated rezone involving 1.99 acres. 2307 Bellado Parkway. The applicant is J&J Michael Investment LLC, and the request is to rezone the property from residential multifamily low to the professional zoning district. Property is located in eastern Cape Coral, just west of Southeast 24th Avenue, near the intersection of Bellado Parkway and Southeast 24th Avenue. Zoomed in a little bit closer. This is an aerial of the subject property. The subject property, as you can see, is a developed site, almost 2 acres in size. There's a fair amount of development, being as this area has been developed for the last couple of decades. Surrounding area consists of residential to the west and to the south. There's a multifamily project just north of subject property. North of that is a park. There are some social services and places of worship to the east along Southeast 24th Avenue. This slide shows the current and proposed zoning. The current zoning of the subject properties in that sort of light brown that indicates the residential multifamily low zoning district. It's a multifamily zoning district. The yellow indicates single-family residential, which you can see to the west and the south, and kind of reflects that development pattern that you'd seen on the aerial in the previous
Excuse me a
slide.
minute. Please, no talking. If you want to talk, please go out in the hallway. You're being disruptive. So go ahead, sir.
Oh, sorry. So that's what you see on the map to the left. The map on the right just indicates the change, the proposed change of the subject property from that multifamily in brown to the light blue color, which indicates professional office zoning for that site. Some background and history. This property was initially developed in 1982. It's had multifamily future land use and zoning since 1989. That being said, no multifamily use had ever been operated on the property. Previous uses had been nonprofit medical office in nature. Ownership of this site changed hands last in 2023, and as you may recall, this site was subject to a future land use map amendment a couple of months ago, back in July, when it was amended to commercial professional. This is a follow-up step to that future land use amendment request with the rezone to make the property consistent. We performed analysis by reviewing the Land Development Code, section 3.4.6. Has 6 review criteria, and through our review, which was in the case report, the proposed amendment fully met all of those 6 criteria. Furthermore, we reviewed this through the lens of the comprehensive plan, more particularly through policy 8.5, which discusses the value of using multifamily residential and professional offices as a transition buffer between single-family residential and more intense uses. We feel that that is consistent with this policy. To conclude, the proposed amendment seeks to make an existing medical office use conforming. The proposed amendment is supported by the Land Development Code and the comprehensive plan. The proposed amendment seeks to reduce the city's deficiency in non-residential acreage. The hearing examiner had reviewed this case back in August, recommended approval, and for that reason, staff recommends approval. I'll stand by for questions. The applicant's representative is also in attendance and has her own presentation.
Okay, thank you. If representative of the applicant or the applicant wants to come forward.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, council members, Annette Barbacha of A&B Planning Consultants. I'm here representing J&J Michael Investment LLC. The principal of J.J. Michael Investment is Dr. Carmona, who's also the owner of the medical practice there. As Wyatt mentioned, they're seeking a change in the rezoning from RML, residential multifamily low, to professional office. As he said, you did approve the land use amendment back in July. It is recommended this rezoning by the HEX officer. It's been a medical office since 2017. As Wyatt mentioned, it was built in 1982, and prior uses have all been office-related, nonprofit offices in particular. The applicant purchased the property in 2023. He was unaware that this was not a conforming use on the property, which is why we're seeking conformance now. Freezing it? Let's see. Oh. Sorry, it doesn't look like that on the screen, so I apologize. Okay. The second shot, and you've seen this before, is that they've invested a lot in the medical practice there. This shot shows the waiting room and the working stations for the medical assistants. This is the conference room office there that they put in. They have a number of examining rooms, about a dozen. As Wyatt mentioned, this is located on a block that's kind of a buffer between Southeast 24th and Southeast 23rd Avenue off of Boleto Parkway. The property is in the southwest corner. Multifamily is just above it. Then in the northwest corner is Paul Sanborn Park. Gulf Coast Baptist Church is in the northeast corner, and the Center for Spiritual Living is on the southeast corner. Southeast 24th is a minor arterial that connects Hancock Bridge Parkway to Vizcaya. There's also a bus route that goes directly to Boleto Park and Southeast 24th, so this property is well served for different modal uses of transportation. And here's just a classification of all the roadways, and you can see on the top right-hand location where the property is located, and bus stop Tran number 70 serves that area. The approved land use back in 2025 shows commercial professional. What this zoning would do is bring it into compliance in terms of zoning requirements. And Wyatt went through this slide before, so I'll just leave it here and just available for any questions you might have. And the doctor is appreciative of where we are to date on this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll now open up the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on ordinance 54-25, please come forward. Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Is there a motion regarding ordinance 54-25?
Motion to approve ordinance 54-25.
Second.
Okay, and I will open it up for council discussion. Councilmember Kilrain.
Yeah, just from an educational standpoint, you had mentioned earlier that it was first a nonprofit and then turned over to the medical facility, and it was zone multifamily before that?
Correct.
So are they compatible? I mean, do we have a special designation for nonprofit?
Some, and I will also say during this period, we've had two different codes because we had a code that existed, it was established in 1990. Actually, I guess it'd be three codes from 1982. So we had three codes, one prior to 1990, one from 1990 to 2019, and one that we use today since 2019. It has long since been the city's view that certain nonprofit activities and offices are fit in a multifamily zoning district. So that's not an issue. Medical offices, though, however, are an issue, and we don't permit those in multifamily residential. So this is, in a way, this frankly is fixing an issue.
Okay, thank you. Based on that, Mayor, we'll be supporting this and we'd vote for approval on it.
Thank you. Seeing no other lights on, Madam City Clerk, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Could you call the roll, please?
Lehman. Aye. Long. Aye. Steinke.
Aye.
Donnell. Aye. Gunter.
Aye.
Kaduk.
Aye.
Kilrain.
Aye.
7 ayes, motion carried.
Okay, move to item 9B is legislative public hearings, first of which is ordinance 59-25. Madam City Clerk, please read title.
Ordinance 59-25, an ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of Cape Coral, Florida, approving contract amendment number 1 to the vacant land contract regarding the sale of municipal surplus real property described as all of lots 12 through 17, block 6400, all of tract G and all of lots 1 through 5, block 6401, all of tract F and all of lots 1 through 7, block 6402, all of tract E and all of lots 1 through 4, block 6403, all of tract D and all of lots 1 through 3, block 6404, all of tract C and all of lots 1 and 2, block 6405, all of tract B and all of lots 1 through 7, block 6406, and all of tract A and all of lots 1 through 8, block 6407, all is shown on the plat of Cape Coral, Unit 76, The Islands, recorded in Plat Book 35 at pages 121 through 129 of the Public Records of Lee County, Florida, containing approximately 47 acres pursuant to Section 2-155 of the City of Cape Coral Code of Ordinances, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute Contract Amendment Number 1, amending the vacant land contract between the city and Gulf Gateway Resort and Marina, LLC. Property located at 106 Old Burnt Store Road North and 606 Old Burnt Store Road North, providing severability and an effective date.
Okay, thank you. I'll turn it over to staff. Mr. City Manager, any staff presentations on ordinance 59-25?
Thank you, Mayor. It's actually going to be myself.
Okay.
So this is a straightforward amendment to the purchase and sale agreement regarding what we all know of as Seven Islands. It merely resets the closing date that is currently scheduled for the early part of November. It is now, this amendment will move it to February 11th. That will permit the finalization of the amendments to the comprehensive plan and the other amendments necessary to the Land Development Code in order to ultimately bring the final development agreement for approval to the council in January.
Okay, thank you. I'll now open up public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on ordinance 59-25, please come forward. Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Is there a motion regarding ordinance?
Motion to approve.
And that's ordinance 59-25?
That's correct, yes, sir.
Second agrees? All right. Any other discussion by council? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Lehman? Long? Steinke?
Aye.
Donnell? Gunter?
Aye.
Paduk?
Aye.
Kilrain?
Aye.
6 ayes, motion carried.
Okay, just a reminder, anyone wishing to speak during citizens' input, if you haven't filled out a comment card, you can do that to my left when you come in there where Mr. Aldridge is filling out a card. You can stop in, fill out a card if you wish to participate in citizens' input. We will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is introductions. There are no introductions listed, so we will move on to the citizens' input time. Citizens' input is a maximum of 60 minutes is set for the input of citizens on matters concerning city government, 3 minutes per individual. Please remember to state your name for the record. We will utilize the podium to my left, your right. Madam City Clerk, if you could gather those comment cards, and we will begin citizens' input. Please stay seated till you hear your name called.
Marie Kavanaugh and Julia Atari.
My name is Marie Kavanaugh. I don't have too much to talk about tonight, but I'm going to go right back to the citizens' input being moved back up to the front of the meeting. I mean, there's like nobody here. You go back and look at some of the old videos, this place was packed. We don't have that anymore because people aren't going to come. By the time they get here and sit through, I mean, it could go till 7:30, 8 o'clock at night before citizens' input comes in. And this whole video thing up here is not good. And I did send packages up to Tallahassee after our incident with the cow last Wednesday. Just thought I'd kind of give you all a heads up.
And the next name?
Julia Atari and Donald Hastel. Hazlett.
Right there to your left, sir. The other side, yeah. Right here. Yes, sir.
concentrating on me?
Yes, sir. Just remember to state your name for the record.
My name is Donald Hazlett. Hey, Mike, can you turn around, sir? Yes, sir. From the meeting at the library, you never got back with me. You said you were going to talk to the chief of police about my concerns. I'm aware that most of y'all already know who the hell I am, pardon my French. But I've been put through quite a bit. And I have medical documentation that I am not crazy. I'm not hearing things. I'm not making anything up. And I have not lied about anything. I've been attacked by this police force. Not everybody on it, because there are some good cops here. And I'm sure there's some good politicians amongst you. But I have yet to meet any of them. You would think that a citizen comes to the city manager with the concern of police corruption, that somebody would address him, that somebody would have called him back. But that never happened. I called his office and his secretary basically blew me the hell off. I'm a human being, a citizen of this city and this great nation. I wasn't afforded due process in any of the garbage they put me through. And I was assaulted by my own police force in my own city, which makes no sense to me. I have every right to be mad about what was done. Every single right. But why isn't it? I didn't hear anything back from him. I didn't hear anything back from any city council meeting, and I gave her my phone number, Jennifer. Because I've been here 14 years. I've lived in the city for 14 years. And because of a bunch of nitwits, that's the only way I can put it, because I want to be as polite as possible. And their own private bullshit. Okay? That had nothing to do with me. But because I came to the Cape Coral Police Department regarding a homicide and that family threatening to do the same thing to me, and then I end up attacked by the police, put into the Solace House and put in county jail for being an honest man, I'm quite disappointed in everybody sitting in this room. Shouldn't I be? Should I not be disappointed in every one of you? I mean, because you're all sworn officials. You're not supposed to sit on the sidelines while somebody's committing crimes that you're aware of. You're not supposed to sit on the sidelines if you know one of your citizens is being accosted by anyone. It's a privilege to hold your jobs, right? I mean, as a citizen, we give you the privilege to rule over us, not dictate to us, to help us become better as a society, not to rule over us like you own us. We're not slaves.
Thank you, sir.
Gary Eldred and Kyle Lahamadou.
Will I hear back from you or any of you guys that speak at all?
We'll get, sounds like your issues with the police department,
There are
sir.
issues with everybody. You guys
Okay.
are in charge of it.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Gary Eldred, you guys know me quite well. I'd like to follow up on the three fishermen's lawsuit that was going on, the status of that through the attorney. Second of all, as you know, code enforcement issue has been near to my heart, and I'd like to thank Mr. Ilchizen's boss, Maureen, for taking care of the issue last week. She's been quite informative. She did bring up a great point, and I'd like to made it public that going forward, instead of receiving a phone call back, which I never did, from code enforcement after 5 or 6 times of calling them and repeatedly leaving my number, that the place in question would be placed a sign of some kind at that residence in order to stop me harassing code enforcement, and that I would know that the issue has been resolved, or at least going to be resolved. As the mayor indicated, I think there's $10,000 worth of assessments to that property, and I will continually to call and harass Cape Coral code enforcement. They do an excellent job, and I take care of my community quite well. And second of all, and so I appreciate that. Thirdly, obviously, is the yacht club increase. I've been a resident here for quite a while and watched the mega increase of that area. We got to stop somewhere. We got to go back and reassess it somehow, some way. And I'm sure you all know that you're in the position to try to do something with that, but the cost has got to stop. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Kyle Amadou, District 7. I'm actually here to talk about what happened last Wednesday at the COW meeting when multiple citizens were required to show ID to get into a public meeting. My issue is not what happened downstairs. My issue was the city's responses to the issue. I don't have high expectations of many of you, but I did have better expectations of some of you up here. The accusations of driving without a driver's license was uncalled for, and an apology is needed. The citizen knew the law where all of you did not, and if you did, you stayed silent, like the city attorney, who should be an expert on this. And the audacity to state that ID should be required is mind-boggling. I have never been one to worry about my civil rights because I have never personally felt them violated until I started coming to these meetings. Something is brewing in this city, and I expect many of you won't be happy when it comes to light. Now, my next point is on council pay raises. After your responses last week, or lack thereof, I don't think any of you deserve anything. I was shocked to find out that the Sanibel Council is a voluntary position. They don't receive any pay. I wonder if the citizens of this city would rather take away your pay instead of giving you a raise. Thank you.
Stephen Ballard and Wayne Wall.
Hello, good evening. My name's Stephen Ballard, District 3. I'm here to speak about the courts. So it's been a little over 1 year since that. By the way, the facility is world-class and amazing. And the PPA coming back this year, we're all very excited about. And it brings a lot of revenue to the community. So that was very insightful by the council. And I do appreciate that very much. We do have some challenges. I'm an avid pickleball player. And I try to play 3 to 5 days a week over there, along with a lot of friends. We have open play in the morning. I don't think anybody on the council plays pickleball. Oh, you do? You just learned. You said you hadn't played it a year and a half ago, but okay.
Didn't say I was good at it.
Okay. So there's been a lot of changes since then, and we've tried to talk to the management there, and we just feel like we want to come to you so that you can help understand some of the members' concerns, and hopefully you can give some feedback there. I did send a letter, an email to several of you. I realize not everybody was attached, so I did forward that to everyone tonight. That goes more into depth. Let me start with a couple issues that we have. One is they came out and decided independently that they were going to have a new, it's called VAIR, V-A-I-R, system for testing for you to be able to be on the advanced courts. First off, I'm not necessarily against that. I think there should be some level so that to be on the advanced courts, it's easier for them to be able to sort out who goes where. However, VAIR is very sparsely used. How many play golf? Okay. How many have played tennis? Tennis, UTR, that's a common nationally used. Golf is GHIN, G-H-I-N. You go to play at a golf course and you want to play in a tournament, you usually have to have the GHIN established. They have that in pickleball. It's called DUPR, D-U-P-R. Most of the advanced players already have this. It's a free thing you get from playing in tournaments. With that, they are not using it. They will not allow you to use that. We do not know why. Besides, they charge for the VAIR system. You have to go through a whole coursework, and there is some money coming back to the club for that. We get it. So that's one thing that they're limiting us on, that's challenging us as members. The second one, I'm probably stealing everyone's thunder, but the second one is we also are losing courts now that they just dictated during open play, which was by the council promised that open play is the backbone of pickleball, where you build social relationships and you play with people of like kind and like mind. Now we're losing 3 courts during open play prime time for lessons which could be done at other times. I thank you for your consideration. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir.
Wayne Wall, Julia Atari, and Ken Jackson.
Good evening, Wayne Wall. I spoke a lot last year when you were starting up Lake Kennedy, and I was a big advocate for protecting open play. And you, the council, said, nope, we're going to protect open play. You actually said no extra fees for members for open play. This VAR system is a fee. It's an extra fee that's being charged to members to play on certain courts during open play. But more importantly to me, it's discriminating. What it's discriminating against is they've created a set of courts called the 4.0 minus courts. And if you're familiar, tennis, pickleball have the same ratings. There's 2.5, 2.5, 3.0, 3.5, 4.0, 4.5. They created what they call a 4.0 minus. This is for people who paid the fee but didn't make it to the advanced courts. So they get special courts that they're allowed to play on that another person who is a 3.5 is not allowed to play on. So for example, I talk to anyone that I've talked to, and I said, we have 4.0 minus courts. I'm like, what's that? I'm like, well, that's courts for people who are 3.5 to 3.9. And they're like, oh, you mean 3.5? Well, if you're a 3.5, you only get to play on those courts if you pay the fee. And for a lot of players that don't want to pay the fee because they're happy to be a 3.5 player, but they're not happy that courts are being taken away from them. They're not allowed to play on them unless they pay an extra fee, which this council said there wouldn't be extra fees for members during open play. And that's what they're doing. So I myself am on the advisory committee. We've talked to the management. They don't agree. They don't care. I'm disappointed in the way the advisory committee is utilized as a member of it. What I asked for was something that could serve as a go-between between the city and the membership, so that if they feel like they're being treated unfairly, we would have a voice. It's not there. If you are not in favor or you're against management's opinions, decisions, or policies, you're ostracized, you're ridiculed, you're dismissed. I'm probably not much longer for the advisory committee myself because I don't agree with their policies. You can't have an open debate with them. And last year, Mayor Gunter, you said, no, we are in charge of the management company. If we tell them to do something, they have to do it. We have no other recourse. We've tried to talk to the management company. Now we're coming to you. It's causing a lot more, and you're going to see it even more as it goes on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ken Jackson, I don't know what district I'm in, but Ken Jackson. Two things. One, the Marriott Corporation is $70 billion. I don't think they need a gift for $350,000 generator, and you could supply free rooms, but just throw that out there. But back to the courts, that's what I'm here for. You take $11 million operation and you take 2 athletes and you give them administrative jobs. They can't do it. They can't handle it. And there's no checks and balance with them. Nobody's checking what they're doing. You're believing what they're telling you, and it's all gospel. Well, we're here today telling you it's not. It's failing miserably. The courts are doing well, but the management is failing. Somebody needs to look into that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hold on. Somebody left their notebook. Anybody? Hi, Julia Tari. First of all, I just had one of the gentlemen mentioned the three fishermen and the contract for paying the lawyer. My question still is and has been, we had a contract with the Reef. They defaulted on the contract, yet we didn't go after them for the $1.4 million, which they should have paid us. And I'm curious as to why we do like selective who we're going after? They violated a contract that said that they would pay, and I just want to know on what legal grounds we're not going after them. The second thing is, I was at a town hall and they kept talking about the P3 project down at the yacht club. I'd like to know explain what a P3 is. Because a lot of people just say, what is a P3? And I'm not even quite sure if all of you know what a P3 is. So I'd like you to at least explain that to the citizens. The list of vendors and the list of the people that the letters were sent out calling me a fraud, I asked for publicly at the dais at your last meeting, and I still haven't received that. That's a public records request, and I should have gotten a response to that. And I'm asking again that I be sent a list of the vendors and how much it costs to send that letter out. So we're clear, that's public records request. I'm putting it on now. The other thing is, the decision you just made was absolutely absurd. A $75,000 generator installed. You just gave a private entity a lot of money for 35 rooms. Now, you all didn't vote yes, but the majority of you did, and I think the majority of you should take the advice I gave you. I think you need somebody to review these contracts. Although we have 3 city managers and an assistant all making over $130,000 a year, somebody has to look at these bids and see what this stuff cost. Took me 15 minutes in one phone call to find out the cost of that generator installed. Now, I don't get paid by the city, but my God, stop giving away money. It's a private hotel. For the amount of money you just gave this guy, I lived through Ian, just like the rest of you, where the churches had to put beds and cots and we had nowhere to go in an emergency. There's no reason why we have to pay that much money for a private entity to make money. It's a for-profit business, and give them $300 and some odd thousand for a $75,000 generator. Maybe you need somebody to oversee the cost on the bids. Thank you.
Kathy Vimay and Charles Fritz.
Hi, I'm Kathy Vernay, and I'm part of the Lake Kennedy Club. And I just wanted to share the cost, as we had talked about earlier, Wayne, and it's an additional cost. We're losing a lot of people actually at the courts because of the VAR charge of $60 to get in and to test, and then every year you have to pay an additional $40. We already pay as a couple, me and my husband, $350, and so that's an additional over $100 plus tax more on that. So a lot of people were losing. They're not coming back to the courts. I know a lot of people at the courts and a lot of people that have already left because of that additional cost. So that's been a real big issue right now. And a lot of people don't even want to do the testing, as Wayne had shared earlier. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Mayor, City Council, this is Charles Fritz. Just want to reiterate what they were saying. The club is fantastic. I waited 5 years to come back to Cape Coral to start playing here because I lived in Punta Gorda. The problem we have now is management. They're not doing their job. I hate to say it, they could do a lot better. I was a tennis pro for 35 years. They don't know what they're doing. They're stopping everyone else from using the courts for their own agenda. So would you please do what you can do and help us help you, okay? We're losing tons of members. I belong to ACE, which is in Fort Myers, And all their top-level players quit playing at Lake Kennedy to go play there because they didn't like the management. So I wish you guys could help us so we can help you. Thank you very much.
That's the last of the comment cards.
Okay, with that, citizens' input is now closed, and I'll open it up for council discussion. The only thing I really have, Mr. City Manager, sounds like we have several individuals have a concern with the courts, and I know they filled out comment cards, so maybe our Parks Director, Mr. Petrella, can follow up with them.
Yes, I know our Deputy Parks Director, Mike, has, I think, probably spoken to, if not one, a couple of these residents about some of their concerns and is working with them to try to understand, everybody has their own little piece, and so he's trying to, figure out the entire picture. But he is aware of some of the issues that were brought up tonight.
Thank you. Council members, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple things, and it was about that. I was a big proponent of the courts, its establishment, establishing the management there. I will take a personal interest in looking into these issues that you've got. If Joe were here this evening, he's been involved with it from the start, and I'm sure through that process, I will get with him and try to get his take on what's going on there as well. Certainly don't want to push people away. Don't want to limit people's use of the courts. You're absolutely right. This was meant for all the citizens of Cape Coral. We certainly felt to have a professional facility that was properly managed, that a fee was required to do that, and we settled on that. I've been a member ever since it opened. I want to continue to be a member, continue to use the courts. I'm not suffering the issues that have been expressed here tonight, but I will definitely take a personal interest in trying to bring resolution and a solution that meets everybody's needs in that. And just one other point that we've been talking about P3s for a long time. It's a public-private partnership. Those 3 Ps: public, private, partnership, and it's where the public entity and a private entity team together in a partnership to bring benefit to all those involved, the citizens, the private entity itself. In many cases, it takes the onus of running a business out of the city's hands where the city has no expertise in it. Typically, you're either doing a private-public partnership or you're establishing some type of a management agreement to use public assets. We've looked at concessionaire agreements of late. Concessionaire agreement is much like a management agreement, where the private entity is not an owner of the property in any way, but oftentimes in public-private partnerships there is some ownership sharing, and so just a few different ways of going after accomplishing a service and a facility for the city. That's what a private-public partnership, PPP, P3 is. That's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Donnell.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't know how to capture this, but what I heard that caught my attention on the issues with the park. For this full disclosure, I play tennis. I'll whoop any of y'all up here. Just kidding, all right? But I did happen to go. I got lost one time, and I ended up
on a tennis court
at a meeting. And this was a few months ago, and that place was just booming. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, that's been months ago. So, and I'm not saying anything to the people who are here, thank you, but there's always the other side to it. So, but I am interested, Mr. City Manager and Council, and if nothing else, I would like to get an executive summary written about this thing about lessons, something about bear or duper, and free. I want to understand
Bear. It's a visually observed rating, which means somebody is actually watching you play. It's not some system, like it's somebody taking notes of how you hit the ball, where it lands.
Understood. I would just like to get some feedback so council can have, because it has my attention, leaving, and it keeps coming down to management, but I would like something, instead of talking about it, I would like to see a summary of it, provided. I don't know if we have to get a consensus for council, or that would make me feel better so I can clearly articulate this is what we've seen from both sides.
I can send it over. You don't need a consent. We'll take care of it.
All right. Thank you. That's all.
Councilmember Kilrain.
Yeah, just a couple of things, and Councilman Stanky picked up on two of them. Gary, the yacht club, basically, I probably misled in saying P3. That's not exactly what I meant, and that's what I mentioned in my town hall too. I cleared that up. I don't think that Mr. Torre, I don't think you were there when I explained about the P3 later, because you left at that time. But basically, I used P3 incorrectly and loosely in that comparison in the CAL meeting. I meant a developer that could go ahead to a concession agreement and manage those pieces for us. And once we found an interest to do that, if we can, that would have financial wherewithal, that would be one option. If we don't come to that, then we have to figure out what we do. We have to look at the costs and see how we might handle it going forward. So that's I think where we left it last time. And basically, the other thing, I've been in communication for a long time with our friends at the courts, and I think that, and we'll clarify further, I'm sure with other support here, the Duper system is kind of like a universal system that's well recognized, and that the VAR system is a little bit different, a little bit less recognized, and the expertise of the instructor is very at a task in making that evaluation. And I guess there are some concerns about the expertise of the instructor and who was making those assessments and applying that classification to people. So there are issues, I think, that recognized here. So I appreciate that we're going to look forward and see if we can get that resolved. And that's it, Mayor. There are just a few things.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just wanted to touch on two items. One was the first resident that spoke. I did have a discussion with him at one of the town halls for Councilwoman Lastra, and I did let him know that I was intending on speaking with the police chief and calling him back. However, when I did speak to the police chief, I found out that that resident has an active case open, and the recommendation was to not call him because otherwise I would be sucked into the case. And so there will come a time where I will, be able to let him know what I found out. But right now, he does have a case that is active, and so I need to stay out of it. And then the last one is Ms. Marie Kavanaugh. I know you all know this because I copied you and sent it to you. Listen, we make mistakes. I made a mistake. I interpreted her to say when she came here and was asked for her license and then had to drive home, I interpreted that as her not having her license. She has clarified that for me in writing. I have written her an apology. She knows it, and I will apologize to her tonight. I made a mistake in misunderstanding what she was explaining. And as far as sending an item to the state, I'm sure the state will look at it and come to the same conclusion that the Breeze and all of us in management who reviewed the situation, it was a mistake. An officer was following a rule for how we handle, just as I thought was the issue, is exactly what happened. The officer was a first-time officer at the desk downstairs. They were applying the rule for all meetings in the city outside of a council meeting. And it was a mistake in understanding when she said she was going to the meeting. They tried to apply the rule for everything else. It was clarified, and it wasn't targeted. There's nothing bigger happening. Even one of our council candidates raised their hand in the back of the room saying, I had to show my license. It was a uniform application, misapplication of a rule. It was a mistake. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no other discussions, we will move on to item 11, which is reports. And the first report is Councilmember Donnell.
Thank you, Mayor. I had the opportunity to go to the MPO meeting last Friday, and it was interesting information, but what I really appreciate, especially from our constituents here that attended, is that the idea of having a meeting did catch, it was met favorably. The meeting time is still up in the air, but I'm very encouraged, and I definitely want to just bring it to you, thank all of you all who were there. And I would suggest, though, that when that occurs, that we have some objectives and that we definitely have a roundtable. But I understand the apprehension might lie because when I was part of it, 13, 14 years ago, if I could just bring back up something would have been a delta, would have a specific objective with a hope or a desired outcome, just to specify so it'd be very meaningful. Because how that ended, if I remember correctly, we'll get our staffs together, which will probably happen, but we just want to be targeted so that we can really get some traction from that meeting. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Kadouk?
Thank you, Mayor. On October 10th, I attended the Horizon Council Executive Meeting and Annual Strategic Planning Session, and I'm happy to report that they have created a new committee, an Arts and Culture Committee, so that's near and dear to my heart, and I'm super excited to be serving on that. On the 17th, I also attended the Lee MPO meeting with my other fellow council members that are on that board, and we did talk about the Burnt Store Road widening. And I also brought up that we needed a joint meeting with our commissioners, so I'm happy to report that yesterday at their meeting that they did approve that. So I'm looking forward to that. And just like Councilmember Donnell said, that we do need to have, a plan of action items when we meet with them, not just Burnt Store Road, but everything. And I think we'll accomplish a lot. And then, of course, today I attended the Chamber of Southwest Florida luncheon where our mayor was the speaker, and he did a great job. Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Kilrain.
October 9th, I attended the CCCIA meeting where city manager presented, and it was well received. They didn't throw eggs at them, so I guess that was well received. On October 14th, participate in the Charter School Governing Board meeting. On the 16th, I just very briefly met with some BIA groups, just a general discussion on issues of the time, and went to the Oktoberfest kickoff with other council members here and mayor. Also attended the MPO and ditto everything that council member Kadouk had mentioned. Burnt Store was really a major focus for us in making sure we had that joint meeting. And I can see where we're going to continue to have to combat the issue where they want us to participate in paying for that expansion, and that'll be what our workshop probably has to focus on. In addition to that, went to the look forward to the town hall on October 18th. Was well attended. I think that it was well received. Deputy Chief Solich did a presentation there and imparted some of the emotional aspects of firefighting. That was really impressive with the residents, I think, and a little bit different flavor to presentations on that we've seen in the past. Also attended Commissioner Greenwell's celebration of life with Mayor and Councilman Lehman. Went to, let's see, Charter Chamber Southwest Florida meeting today, and that's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Lehman?
Yeah, thank you. On October 9th, I also attended the CCCIA meeting with the city manager speaking. It was a very good meeting. That same day, met with a citizen about an issue that they're having. And with Bimini East, they are very interested in Bimini East and putting in a proposal on that. Met with him, went over what he had. On the 11th, attended the Mayor Scholarship Ball. On the 16th, attended the German American Club Oktoberfest. The 17th, I was also at the MPO meeting. On the 18th, I attended the Celebration of Life for Commissioner Greenwell. It was very well attended, and I don't think there was a dry eye in the house. It was a beautiful ceremony, really beautifully handled. On the 21st, I got a tour of the Christopher Allen model home, because they had a ribbon cutting today, and unfortunately, with meetings, we're not able to attend. Beautiful home, by the way, up on Chiquita North. And just an FYI, on November 1st is my town hall, my monthly town hall at the Mohawk Library at 10 a.m. The fire department is coming to discuss all that the fire department does in addition for the community, in addition to just fighting fires. Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Steinke.
Thank you, Mayor. On the 9th of October, I represented the city at the Tourist Development Council meeting in Lee County. On the 11th of October, I attended the Mayor's Scholarship Ball and acted as an honorary auctioneer there. We raised a lot of money for the children of Cape Coral and their college educations. That was a great evening, and several of our council members were there as well. On the 16th of October, I attended the reception at the German American Club to kick off the Oktoberfest, and then today also attended the Chamber State of Southwest Florida event at the Bell Tower, where our mayor did a great job of representing us as a city, as all the mayors of the municipalities within our county were there representing their municipalities. So, and that's it for me.
I have to mention, Councilman Stanky came in garb to the Oktoberfest. He looked pretty damn good.
Yeah. Real quickly, on the 14th, I had the occasion to be a guest speaker at third grade, all the third graders at Oasis North, about 150 third graders. I'm kind of sorry that Councilmember Long had to leave early because I wanted him to know that his daughter kept me in line the whole entire time that I was there. So she made sure I knew who she was. Also on the 16th, I participated in Southwest Florida League of Cities executive committee meeting. On the 16th, also in the evening, I attended the reception for the kickoff for the Oktoberfest. On the 17th, I attended the grand opening ceremonies with Oktoberfest, tapping of the first keg. Also on the 18th, I attended the celebration of life for Commissioner Greenwell at JetBlue. It was a great service that was provided there, and definitely an individual who left us way too soon. Also, as you heard today, I was one of the mayor panelists on Southwest Florida Chamber luncheon, so that was well attended. I haven't been there in a while, so I was quite surprised how well attended that it was. Just one other thing I wanted to mention, and I know I heard a few of my colleagues mention here today about the Bernstore Road discussion. I think that's something that we may want to put on a committee of the whole for the future, so we could have a discussion collectively to see exactly what the desire is of the collective body. That will help us in moving forward with any future discussions with our county commissioners. So I just wanted to see if that was an interest for everybody.